this to bring us peace with God, which is what we need. We live in a sinful world, and we all go to bed at night, and there are some days where we can ignore it, but we all understand that we are broken. We are in need of peace. We are in need of peace that is bigger than being comforted, better than having a comfortable bed to sleep in or a beautiful day like today. We need an ultimate peace, a peace with God. And Jesus died to bring us that peace. And through this, we get our healing. We are healed by Jesus Christ. We who did not look out for his well-being, but he looked out for our well-being because he loves us and he's filled with compassion for us. John 3:16, we may be familiar with this. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, shall not be a hunk of bloody meat on a cross, but shall live forever. That shall live forever. And that is for us because he loves us deeply. And so with this, we see some application. One, if you do not know Jesus, put your faith in him, and that peace with God that Jesus Christ died for is yours. And secondly, if you know Jesus, thank him. Regularly remember the cross of Jesus Christ. Remember what he has done for you. And thank him because he has been so good to you. So Jesus suffered to heal us. Next, we see Jesus cares for us as a servant. Or the main point, remember, is Jesus cares for us as a servant and saves us as a lamb. Jesus, this whole time, this whole first half of this, is that Jesus cared for us as a servant. He looked out for our benefit. We did not look out for his, but he served us, and he served us humbly. And now we're going to see that Jesus saves us as the Lamb of God, as a lamb. And that is a strange picture to call someone a lamb. When I was growing up outside my home, like once a year, I lived on this county road, and these shepherds would come and just lead hundreds of sheep down the paved main road. And it was just this very bizarre thing, but as kids we would go out there and it was crazy. There were hundreds of them walking around, and I remember looking at all these sheep and thinking how do these two guys keep track of all these sheep? And later on, when I was in college, a friend and I were out in the wilderness looking for a lake called Lost Lake that we ended up never finding because it was lost. And while we were out there looking around, we saw these shepherds, and there were just sheep all over the hillside in its forest. And yet there were only one or two shepherds. But we see that these sheep were still under the shepherd's authority. They were still listening for the shepherd's voice. They were still doing what the shepherd called them to do, and the shepherds trained them in a way that they could have just a multitude of them out there in the wilderness and not lose it. And so this next part of this passage, it calls us sheep, but then later on it will call Jesus as sheep, and we will see a stark contrast between the two. We are sheep. Isaiah 40:11, part of this same book, it says, "He will tend his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs in his arms. He will carry them in his bosom and gently lead those that are with young." God is a shepherd. Jesus is a shepherd, and he walks beside us, and he cares for his sheep, and he tends to them, and he keeps them safe from harm, and he gives them grass to eat and leads them beside water to drink. And the shepherd's job is to just make sure that these sheep don't kill themselves or aren't killed by other things, and that they're fed, because these sheep are helpless on their own. We as people, we start out this way, right? We start out as babies, and if you leave a baby alone, it's not going to figure things out for itself. It's going to die. And sheep are like that throughout their lives. That is what a sheep is that it needs constant tending, or it will wander off and die. And Isaiah says here, "All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way." So we see that Jesus is the good shepherd, and we walked away from him. We walked away from Jesus. We were under his care and authority, and we abandoned him. We walked away. We have turned everyone to his own way. Right? This shepherd that guided us and cares for us so much that he lays down his life for the sheep, we turned from him. We walked away. We spurned him, and we left, and we're in danger by doing so. We're in danger by doing so because not only are we rebuking God, whom we need to be at peace with, but we are wandering into danger. We are wandering into darkness. And so so Isaiah calls us sheep, and we need to understand that we are these sheep that on our own we will die. If we try to make it on our own, if we try to think, I think as long as I have a really good idea of what happens in the afterlife, or as long as I try my best to do my best by my fellow man, then I'll be all right. But this is a sheep wandering away, thinking I'll make it on my own. And there are wolves, and they will slaughter the sheep. There are ravines that we will fall off of. We are blind. We don't know everything, but God does, and so He, as a shepherd, cares for us, and we have wandered away. But Jesus is also a sheep. Of the Messiah in this passage, it says, "He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he opened not his mouth. He was like a lamb that is led to slaughter, and like a sheep that before its shears is silent, so he opened not his mouth." So he walked silently, not fighting back. For greater love has no one than this, than someone lay down his life for his friends. So Jesus, as a sheep, walked silently to his death for us. He did this for us all while we as sheep were wandering astray and going about it for ourselves. So Jesus is in this for us, and we are in this for ourselves. And so Jesus is a better sheep than we are, and we are grateful for that. So from this, I want to ask, do you walk as a sheep without a shepherd? Do you wander? Do you have a shepherd that is guiding you? Do you have a shepherd that is bigger than yourself? Because we, like